What's up, everybody? Welcome to the last ChessKid Monthly Championship qualifier. I am your host, Liam Murphy, aka the Blazing Bishop. Happy to be here with everyone today. I have my snazzy ChessKid hat, and today we're going to be having open the ChessKid Twitch chat and the chess.com TV chat. Remember that you should not be looking at the chats if you are playing in the tournament. Okay, so we have open here with the Roy Lopez from the top seed in the tournament, who is Opal Top Fawn. A fun name, I would say. Do not like Queen D7 by Black here. Kind of an unusual move. This bishop is not really screaming to come here. Perhaps you're going to play A5 and get your bishop out over here. Black has these doubled pawns, which don't have to be a bad thing. You can use the doubled pawns to your advantage by activating your rook. What's up, Angry Space Void? Hello to you. The Amazing Story Brother says, hello, Blazing Bishop. I am Gabriel the Artist. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, man. Or woman. How old are you? Oh, you lost your Twitch account for being too young. Yikes. So knight f5. Okay, knight c6 is fine, but knight f5 I thought was interesting. Even though the bishop's going to take, because you take back with the pawn and the rook hits the queen there. And really, it's as white here, you're just screaming to attack this black king. There's no pieces defending it. How do you know, dude, my name? Happy 9th birthday. Wow. Amazing. I don't know if you're supposed to be on Twitch at 9, but I won't tell anyone. It's not my place to decide. What's up, Tellin' Moose? Again, guys, I've opened up the chats. If you missed the intro, this is the last ChessKid Monthly Championship. All of the winners from the previous qualifiers will be entered into the end of year tournament, where more details are going to be released on that shortly. But there's going to be some fun prizes that they can win here. Okay, so black is getting their pieces developed finally, so that's good. I'm not sure about bringing the bishop on this diagonal. I wanted to bring the bishop over here, pointed at the king. I'm always trying to attack people with my people. The Mad Punter asked, how do I play in this tournament? I'm going to copy the info for you and post it here. You already missed the first game of the tournament, but you can still join a little late. After the first few moves, someone resigned. Well, that's not going to help them at all. Okay, so bishop e6. So yeah, this bishop is just kind of, I mean, it's playing on both sides of the board, but it's a little bit awkward of a piece. Like rook a e1, very natural. Getting the pieces out. f4. Wow. Threatening f5. But there is a check in the position here to the king. White wants to keep the queens on the board because he wants to attack something like rook g5. Just simple caveman chess. But black is trying to make threats, but the white knight does an excellent job of covering f2 right now. The Mad Punter, you need to join. You need to be a member of the ChessKid tournament, and all that info is in the article for you. So I can't just give you a link to join the tournament. Also, I'm kind of commentating right now, so that's my main job, but you need to join the tournament, and then you can join the tournament link. This might be the tournament link. I'm not really sure. I'll post it for you. I don't know if that will let you just join, but you can join in Play versus Kid, which is the fast chess server, and then you click on the tournament tab. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't let you join late. You have to be on time for these tournaments. So white does not need to move this rook. Knight e5 was something to at least think about, but the knight would capture and still hit the queen here. Knight c5 looks like a logical move here, hitting the queen, hitting the bishop. White doesn't want to trade, but really in an endgame, they are winning here because black is not only down a pawn, but their pawn structure is just worse, where white has 3 connected pawns and black has these 2 isolated pawn islands. So knight c5, hitting the queen, hitting the bishop twice, threatening to win this pawn perhaps, or just make black have a 3rd isolated pawn, which will be troubling in the endgame. However, it will activate black's rook for them. So queen d2, hitting the c2 pawn, activating the queen. Yeah, I mean, black's just moving their queen way too much this game, kind of out of force. Knight d3, allowing this queen to capture on c2. Is the queen get trapped if it does this? Is there any tricks? I might just grab the pawn if I'm black here. The knight becomes loose. Gotta warm up my tactical brain though. First time viewer with a derp. Wow. Yeah, okay, so queen takes c2, not possible because of rook e2, trapping the queen. These squares are covered once by the knight, once by the pawn. Sean Chess giving out a sub to Geek Guam. Wow. Thanks, Sean Chess. Really active chat today, guys. I love it. If you have any chess questions, any life questions, any questions in general, please let me know. Okay, so rook b8. At least we're getting our rook in the game, but not really threatening anything right now. Rook d1, giving this queen a kick and forcing this queen trap. Where previously, I don't think actually, if we go back, queen takes c2. Yeah, okay, no, it did. The queen was covering the knight over here. So the queen looks trapped. So are there any tricks we can do though? I'm not really seeing anything. Any desperation moves, like moving our knight to counterattack the queen? Something I would have thought about. What's my ELO? My FIDE rating is 2,050 something. That's one of the most popular questions on the show. What's up, RDK Chess? Welcome, new viewers, to the community, to the ChessKid community. A lot of fun things going on in the ChessKid world. We have Vishy Anand, the former world champion, has released several videos on the ChessKid site. Those are absolutely electric. We have the last monthly championship here with tournaments to follow. We have Tani, a prodigy in the making, who plays quite a bit of chess. I've played some matches with him as well on Tiny Time shows. Got this new ChessKid hat. What happens if you win the monthly? If you win this tournament, you make it into the qualifier tournament, which happens next month. If you win that tournament, I don't quite remember what the prizes are yet, but it's going to be good prizes. So you want to win this. You also get to play Funmaster Mike too. What's the age limit on the tournaments? I don't know, but I assume 18 and under. That's my guess. Okay, the Black King is in trouble. Black has some active pieces here. Maybe rook f1, rook f2, desperately trying to get an attack, but the white queen is going to be way too quick with this discovered check of f6. f6, g6 is forced, and then something like queen d6, queen f8, queen g7 is the goal. Got to give this knight a kick though. It's not that easy, but you can't really get this and kick this knight away. And black has a very simple plan of something like rook c1, rook c2. Ooh, I don't know about moving the knight. Now this is being attacked. Yeah, I guess you could just not stop this. And that is a checkmate. Wow, that was the last round. That was the last game of round 1. Rarely do you see that where the top seed is the last round. All right, we'll check in on another game here. A reminder that if you're playing in this, you should not be watching while you play. That's legal, against the rules. Okay, we have the Queen's Gambit accepted. If you actually study the Queen's Gambit accepted, one of my good friends in New York City who was a chess coach, he's a FIDE master. He really has like the theory down for the Queen's Gambit accepted, and people who play the Queen's Gambit, they don't even like look at that. They're like, people capture the pawn, but I don't think black is playing this perfectly. But if you did know the Queen Gambit lines, then accepted lines, you can score some sharp wins. Okay, knight c6. So right away, white has to at least think about the move d5, giving this knight a kick, and something like d5, knight b4, queen a4, hitting the king and forking the knight. So that would look like this. And a check, and the knight cannot go back. And if bishop d7 hitting the queen, well, you just want a knight like that. So d5, definitely move I'd be calculating as white. White is really in the tank here though. It's been a lot of time. They're probably calculating bishop takes f7 as well, or just queen f3. Trying to do some simple caveman chess. Okay, knight e2. I might have just ripped d5 myself. So bishop f5, trying to get something like this going. We want active pieces in chess. A common trap is like if this knight had gone to f3 instead and bishop g4 was played, is for white to just sack the bishop, the king captures, and then something like knight g5, hitting the king, and the queen attacks the loose bishop. Here, white went for this like opera game style attack on f7, black defended it, and then white nabbed the pawn, which this pawn's not poisoned because the knight was loose, so black needs to defend this knight. And if they can get these pieces developed, they'll probably have a game here. Bishop b5, pinning the knight to the king. They're just trying to put more and more pressure there. So maybe even like d5 takes, knight d4. Looks hard to stop. But the queen was hit in danger, so they elected to trade. Bishop f4, giving the rook a kick. And now maybe even again, d5 takes, knight d4. But here, black might play king d7, defending the knight. Looks kind of scary. White wants to get these pieces developed, though, and active quick. They can't go anywhere, so no worries there. What would I do? Would I castle? Yeah, castling or knight c3, kind of like. As black, I want to get these pieces out. Be cool if we could develop with tempo. Knight e2, like I want to have this happen to defend this knight, but okay, bishop e7. Bishop e7 forcing the knight to f6 pretty much. And the king will castle. And black will have a game down a pawn. With white having an isolated pawn, so minor compensation. You do not want to lose this bishop, retreating it back. Sacking the pawn. So if pawn captures, perhaps rook e1, bishop d6 is the threat. We're just giving the pawn back for just activity to the king, really trying to prevent this king from castling. For example, knight of, yeah, king d8 probably a strong move. Maybe even king f8 was better. But if you had done something like knight f6, looks like bishop d6 would be very annoying, where this knight is not protecting the bishop because of the pin. And even if whatever, just knight c3 and castles, well, now you can remove the defender of the bishop. Okay, so knight f6, rook a d1, logical move lining up with the king and a pawn that is attacked twice here. Maybe you'd like to play d4, but then the knight would get chomped and the rook would take. Has anyone been watching the FIDE Grand Swiss tournament? Chess.com FIDE Grand Swiss tournament. Has anyone been watching that? If so, who are you rooting for? Let me know in the chat. Personally, I would like Ali Reza Firouzja to win the tournament, or at least place top 2 in the open section, so that he can qualify for the candidates. I'm a fan of the young, who currently a French grandmaster. I'm a fan of him. I think he could be a world champion one day. He's only like 17 or 18 years old, and he is a beast on the chessboard. Okay, so black's position is worse, but white is down on the clock. There is increment here, though, so. So it looks like black can just take back and they have their piece, but there will be ways for white to put more pressure on this pin piece, I suspect. Bishop e5, trying to remove one of the knights is the plan. Rook c5, hitting the bishop and defending the knight. A good move. Also, the king needs a square to get out of this pin. So right now, if like bishop takes, and I don't, perhaps black's going to be just up material. Can white get another threat? Okay, they play a4, defending the bishop. I would have looked at bishop takes, and knight e4. Probably just drops a bishop, though. Knight d7 captures, king captures. b4, kicking this rook off of this rank with the knight and winning the knight back. Good tactics and calculation here by the junior prodigy. Penguin Chess says, yo, dudes. Yo. What's up, dudes? So, okay, you got to find a move here. I'm at least thinking about here. I don't think it's a good move, but I'm at least thinking about it. Because this is black's problem right now. Okay, rook c6. Not that active. Rook c4, a little bit more active. Okay, and white is grabbing pawns. And again, these pins have been the theme for white here. They're just pinning black's pieces. Something like rook e5, pinning the bishop. f5, threatening to win the light squared bishop. Black does not want to play a move like f5 itself, making his bishop a tall pawn. But if f5, the square is covered. f6. The bishop must come to f7. Gives the rook a kick. Also, rook e5 is no longer a weapon. So instead of moving the bishop, something to definitely calculate was bishop c5 with the rook hitting the rook on e1 and a check here. Captures, captures here, captures, captures. Rook c7 forced here to hit this bishop because your bishop's under attack. So if captures, 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 captures. Something to have thought about here. What actually happened in the game, though? Gotta see those discovered checks. So, okay, some trades. This rook is lining up with the bishops. King d7. Move of strength. King c7. g4. So white just wants to solidify this pawn on f5. They are attacking this point twice, but it's defended. This bishop's a little bit out of play too. And this is what black needs to do. They need to get their rook active. Italian Moose says, I wish I was 2,500. And producer Alex says, me too, sad robot face. Fun fact, me and, wow, some tactics here. Black drops the rook, but wins a rook back. Me and producer Alex played a chess game in a tournament at the chess.com meetup. Ooh, no, dropping more pawns. So this is probably a draw with correct play from black, maybe even a win. If they can, the bishop with pawns on both sides of the board is just really strong. They're just totally pacifying here. That's not the move. Ooh. I don't know about that. They just dropped. Oh, and white is helping out a little bit. Okay, so move. Bishop e8 is a fine move, and f7 just. Oh yeah, it's over. Black had chances there, and black made a rookie mistake here. That's super common. They were way up on clock, and white was way down on clock, and they started moving really quick, thinking that would help them. It's the exact opposite. When you're up on time and your opponent is not, you want to find the strongest moves to make your opponent think. Don't just try to blitz them down. Unbiased Lassitin says, hello. Hello to you. Is the junior prodigy famous? I don't think so. This is my first time hearing of him. Dada Kalari, a common contender in this series, and whoa, g2, g1, gonna hit the board. That's a queen. Also, to the person who said they want to be 2,500, guess what? That is a lot of work. You got to work yourself to that. You don't wish yourself to that. You've got to do lots of tactics, lots of studies of your chess to get there. Just got 1 or 2 games left. Black King's going to chase the white king down here and secure the checkmate. Okay, coming into round 3. And we'll look at the 3rd seed here. Bunch of undefeateds left still. We got Dada Kalari versus Cute Kitties. I like that name a lot. And it has a little lion as its picture. Give me a 1 in chat if you're rooting for Cute Kitties, and a 2 in chat if you're rooting for Dada Kalari. Again, 1 in chat if you're rooting for Cute Kitties, and a 2 in chat if you're rooting for Dada Kalari. As a commentator, I'm not rooting for anyone, but as a spectator, it's fine to be rooting for someone. Chess Wiz says they're 2 out of 2. Good job there. Okay, so that pawn break to activate white's pieces, very thematic, and queen takes e4 should definitely hit the board here. Ooh, okay, took a bit, me, I'm doing this all day. Just threatening mate in 1. Black doesn't really want to play f5. They don't really want to play g6. I see no drawbacks to there. But what actually happened was f5 anyways, g5, and black is expanding on the king side, trying to get an attack going. They do have this weak backwards e6 pawn. Black should get in the move c5 eventually, strike at the center, put this bishop on b7. Perhaps they need to defend this point though, so this bishop is defending here. We have no votes for cute kitties or Data Kalari. A lot of bystanders. Okay, 95 plugging this hole. This outpost square, a square that cannot be attacked by pawns. Bishop f6, queen h5, hitting this loose pawn and threatening to invade here. Captures, captures. Ooh, no. And I think Data forgot that his bishop was loose here. He dropped a bishop, but it is still the game. He can force a draw if he wants. Queen g6 is a forced draw with queen g6, king h8, queen takes, king here, blah, 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 blah. If he wants to, he can end the game like that. But he instead, I would be looking, I would spend all my clock and try to find checkmate. And that's what he did here. So he did queen g6. Let's find it on the board. So he first does a check. Then the king is over here. Then he does another check. Then the king's over here. Then he does another check, kicking the king back to h8. It's not repetition, but remember he's capturing pieces. And now he captures on g5, threatening to get the bishop involved. And it's going to be pretty simple to get his rooks in the game. Boom, 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 something like that. Queen d7 hits the board. Bishop f6 check. The queen must block. Actually, rook takes was better. Yeah, rook takes, pawn takes. Still with big threats. Checkmate looks like it's pretty inevitable. So the game could have gone like this. And then I guess queen h7. And you're just down the exchange with a bad position of pawns. But black didn't know the ways to get out of check. They didn't know all their captures. They gave up the game here. Another super common way for white to win here is something like rook a d1, rook d3, rook h3, and just doing a ladder mate like that. Mighty Marcus says hello. What's up with you? Okay, let's check in on nice ultra rook versus strolling lion. Last Open Fortress says, I hope ChessKid hosts another one of these next year. Yeah, I'm not sure of the plan. Probably will happen though. You're 2 out of 3. I don't think 2 out of 3 is a awful score. Everyone's at a different point in their chess journey, guys, right? So just because someone is stronger at chess than you now does not mean they will be later. Remember when Magnus Carlsen was growing up, fun fact, he was not ooh, wow, what a cool checkmate on the board. The bishop is pinning the F pawn. So queen g3 combined with this bishop is a checkmate. Wow. Woo, 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 woo. You pre-moved checkmate or pre-moved into checkmate? Okay, we got Fair Bold Snowman versus Fausti Oro. I think I know Fausti. He is I forget which countries he's from, but I was talking with head of ChessKid Espanol, Yvette Garcia, and she was talking about Fausti. And I think he streamed, I think he won one of the monthly championships already. And he streamed it all. Pretty cool. Okay, and what black's calculating here is if they can just like race this pawn down. Something to have thought about here as black is just the move d3. And just threatening d2, d1 with the bishop is carding d1. But basically, like, if this happens, it's game over. Turning to game here, though, what happened is he said, I'm going to get some pawns. And really, this is just knowing your end games. So this pawn, you just put it on a dark square. Put your pawns on dark squares against a bishop, but also just minor pieces versus minor pieces up extra material is usually a win for the side with extra pawns. Is it legal to play on ChessKids if you're not a kid anymore? Asking for a friend. It is absolutely legal to play on ChessKid. Yes, you can still play. You cannot take part in the kid-only tournaments like this tournament, but it's totally fine to still learn on the site and play on the site. Most adults choose to play on different sites, but when I was a chess coach in New York City, I was about 1,200 USCF 3 years ago, and now I'm about 2,000 FIDE. I was learning on the ChessKid site while I taught my kids. So I was an adult learning on the site. I did the puzzles. I did the lessons. The puzzles are the exact same as chess.com. Fun fact. A little fun fact for you there. Welcome, Showdown for Life. Okay, so we got this knight versus bishop dynamic. The knight is just gobbling these pawns up, but white has achieved. This is still a loss probably for white, but they have achieved what they want. They want pawns on both sides of the board when you have the bishop. What is the max age for the kid-only tournament? Off the top of my head, I do not know. I am a commentator for this, but I would guess it's 18. Perhaps my lovely producer can give me the exact answer there. Yeah, 18 is usually the adult age. Oh. Okay, I'm seeing my chats now from my producer. I didn't have it open. Is ChessKids and chess.com connected since they have the same puzzles? Yeah, it's the same company. They're just two different websites. Fasti is from Argentina. Getting the info here. Yes, we would not. ChessKids and chess.com would not have the same puzzles if we were not the same site there. So here's the thing about white's position is they cannot force this pawn. They cannot force this king to move. It's just totally barricaded the pawn. And now they're just going to try to promote with knight and 3 pawns versus bishop and pawn. And really, they probably need to, if I'm white, I'm trying to put my pawn to like a6 and get my bishop on this diagonal where the bishop can both guard this pawn to keep the king over here and help guard over here. And then I'm bringing my king over here and hoping I can hold a draw. Funmaster Mike says, interesting ending. Of course it is. Funmaster Mike, if you guys don't know, is in Riga for the Grand Swiss tournament, and he hosted the ChessKid Grand Swiss over the tournament. So this was a mistake by white letting this pawn go, because now there's nothing keeping the black king over here. So again, the setup to me was get this bishop on this diagonal, the f1 to a6 diagonal, put a pawn on the light square, and just pray that you can somehow hold both this pawn and king and pawn versus 3 and knight. You can stop them. But now that you've dropped this pawn, the black king's going to come over here, and it's going to be way too much. Even though this king is already here, the king has to go like around here to get at these pawns, and they're just too slow. This knight guards his pawn. Once the king gets over here, Fausti should be able to convert this. Funmaster Mike in the Twitch chat, a popular audience member, of course. Rick Brazel says Hikaru recommendation. Are you saying Hikaru recommended you come to our stream? That's cool. If so, please elaborate, Rick Brazel. Brazel. If you celebrate Halloween, please tell me what you were for Halloween. Ross Squishy asking, how do I enter the tournament? I think you're a little late, my friend. I don't think you can join this late. We're a couple rounds into it. Funmaster Mike is speaking in a language that I do not know. I'm going to guess. No, I'm not even going to guess. Not even going to give it a guess there. The Junior Prodigy says you gave out chess sets for Halloween. That's awesome. What was your guys' costumes, though? Latvian. Thank you, Kangaroo. That makes sense because of Riga. I love Halloween, even as an adult. I just love to see the kids dressed up in costumes being ridiculous. It's pretty funny. I used to be a teacher, so I always enjoyed seeing the kids in their costumes. And of course, I always like, uh-oh, this is my fault. I was wondering why there was no moves. Okay. So we're seeing this endgame in super speed here. And Fausti has found a way to promote this queen, and checkmate is coming after queen g3. Unbiased says, I was a giraffe. I used to work at the zoo, even though I'm 13. Hey, do not let anyone tell you you're too old for Halloween. You know, I think if you're 100, you can celebrate Halloween. Uh-oh, rook c1 is a checkmate there. Okay, coming into round 4. Did I give out candy? I did give out candy, yes. Fausti keeps you feeling young. Okay, we've seen this. Oh no, we've seen a game from him. So let's check in on Top Lumpy Gator, our next highest seed here. Wow. Okay, slow down, guys. We're blitzing out moves here. But what I was saying is I always like to see the chess costume, Halloween costumes. When I was a coach, one year, one of the kids was like a queen, I think, and one year they were a king. I thought that was always fun and cool. Yeah, I know once you guys start getting to middle school, high school, some of you are like, no, it's not cool anymore to celebrate Halloween. I don't agree with that. You know, if you have fun dressing up, you should dress up. Because guess what? In college, they start dressing up again. And, you know, adults dress up for Halloween too. Okay, so an unusual move here from white where they invested a turn to play queen b3. And then they right away played queen c2 again. So that's usually not something you want to be doing where you're moving a piece more than once. But the reason they're doing it is they want this queen to guard the bishop on e2 so they can castle. And black wisely puts another attacker here. And basically this knight's not attacking here, but so they play bishop g5 and yeah, f6. And things are looking bad because black's just going to remove the defender here and prevent this king from castling. Wow. Okay, so this was, you can't take that because you're getting checkmated. So what happened instead is queen c3. And again, this queen is tethered to this bishop. And they finally have just dropped the piece. And Gator is in a commanding position here. So yeah, reminder, this is the last qualifier for the ChessKid Monthly Championship. I forget the prizes for the tournament next week, but the final tournament will be next week, the Tournament of Champions. Maybe that's not exactly what it's called, but I'm calling it that right now. Other exciting things in the ChessKid universe. We have ChessKid universe. We have Vishy Anand videos. Make sure if you watch those, they're on the site. That's a world champion making videos. Got to check those out. We have more bots coming to the site. That's exciting. Uh-oh. Knight G1, undeveloping the knight so that they can put more pressure on this knight is, looks like white has managed to win back their piece. So what happened here? This rook was undefended. What was the mistake? They took the castle. And yeah, basically they needed to save this knight this turn if they could, which I'm not even sure if there's a way to do that. G5, bishop G3 and takes, I guess. Because here we've seen the problem that this rook is undefended and they can just put too many attackers, 1, 2, 3 versus 2 defenders. Not even going to play bishop G4 because of F3. I probably would have forced the move at least, but now we somehow have a nearly even game. Black is still for choice. They're up a pawn, and they also have a better pawn structure here. Mike says he likes going back here. He likes, let's look at it. He likes queen e4. That's a good way. So invading the queen as a way of defense, and then rook e1, and then queen d3, hitting the queen here. And if the queen trades, the bishop will be defending the knight. And you could probably just save it on this diagonal, and then you'll be able to develop your knight and have the rook finally be defended. Getting back to the game though. Okay, so black expanded on the queen side here. They have this backwards pawn to keep this knight here. And we have opposite colored bishops. So if I am white, I'm trying to reach a bishop endgame. They're not always draw opposite colored bishops, but they are draws quite a bit. Chess Wiz says, I sacked a rook to force mate in 3. Nice. Ross Squishy in all caps said, is there going to be another tournament? This is the last qualifier for this series. I'm sure. So interesting here that there is no real discoveries that black wanted to play on this queen, something like knight d2. But next month is the Tournament of Champions, what I'm calling it right now. I forget off the top of my head what it's called. But I'm sure maybe next year there will be another tournament here. And black is just saying, how do you stop me now? I am fast. My knight guards b2. I'm going to play here. I'm going to play bishop g6, and I am going to promote. So white needs to prevent the bishop coming on this diagonal, which long term I don't think they can do, but they can try knight h4 right now. Black would probably play bishop d5, bishop e4, something like that. Knight e2 saying, okay. Yeah, and that's the knight can also do the trick, I guess, is the problem with the queen covering b2. And no checks to worry about. Promote with safety. Bishop e6 would give a check, but it would have double attacked the knight. Yeah, I think bishop e6 is still a move. Queen e6, queen f7. White doesn't want to trade. This knight's being attacked a bunch of times. I really love the move h6, but I don't love creating these weaknesses around the king, even though white only has a knight to take advantage of it. But black is up a commanding amount of material. Alstar says, hi, hello to you. For any NFL red zone fans, I feel like I should they call the, so when you watch football, the early afternoon games at the, missed a checkmate and won there, but they got the win by resignation. When you watch football, the early afternoon games, they call it the witching hour at like 3 o'clock and the games end at 4 because a lot of craziness is happening. So I feel like I should call the, like round 5 of the tournament, the witching hour for chess, because a lot of craziness happens. Guys, I want to remind you about fair play. Make sure you are not doing any watching the broadcast while you're playing. That's cheating. Do not have open another tab. That's cheating. We will catch you. You will be kicked out of the tournament. Make sure you're playing fair. It's no fun. Okay, so this game is crazy. This white king is in the center of the board, not where it wants to be. Black is up quite a bit of points of material, but they've not gotten their pieces in the game yet. Super logical moves is getting this rook over to c2 White wants to trade, which the problem with trading for them is they're trading into a losing endgame. And here they just dropped a rook. So that's of course losing. Queen takes b7. e4. Okay, yeah, and this one's over. So we'll look at one of the closer games. We have Data versus Forest, and looking at the standings here. Let's check in on Fausti. I like his chess. Okay, he is way down on material to Harry. Let's see what happened here. So we had what I like to call a Gucci piano, but I actually thought it was called that when I first got into chess. You know, was you're coming to the chess world a little later than most at my age, and just looking at the spelling of it, I was like, okay, the Gucci piano, that's ahead of its time. But it's called the Yoko piano. And yeah, this has just got tactically crazy. Looks like Harry pulled that one out. So we'll check in on this game. Do you think my 4-year-old brother could learn chess on this app? Absolutely. Definitely. I was a coach in New York City, and I taught whole classrooms of 4.5-year-olds. So if I can teach whole classrooms of like 30 to 40 4.5-year-olds, you can definitely teach one at a time. And you don't have to be able to read to do the lessons. The lessons will speak to you. So I would start them on lessons. Yeah, and this is a winning endgame for Black here, where, ooh, I don't know about this. I don't know why they play this a4 move. But basically the Black King's going to shoulder the White King away. Yeah, and now this is a position where the White King would like to just sit here and never move, and then Black can't win. But or actually maybe even b4 here is a winning idea. b4, point is the pawn takes, and these pawns start going. You were really good at chess. Would you be my friend? Of course I'd be your friend. I'm friends with all chess players. Now Black's got to be careful not to stalemate here. Yeah, and even just leaving this tension would have been fine for Black, but they're choosing to win this way. Nice checkmate there. Got a couple games left in the last edition of the 2021 monthly championships until the actual championship. Okay. On to round 5, the witching hour. I'll have to work on my witch voice there. What do you guys think? All right, we'll check back in on the top seed here. We got Top Lumpy Gator versus the Junior Prodigy. And producer Alex may flash the standings soon here. Just a reminder that all results are unofficial until our team runs fair play. Okay, we got a Benoni defense, which is accepted by White here, and Black probably doesn't encounter that move that often. So they play knight a6, picking back up the pawn. White just develops normally here. d6, allowing the late squared bishop to develop. Alistar saying I had a good impression of a witch. Thank you very much. I will add that to my LinkedIn profile if you guys will endorse me for that skill. Maybe a joke, a little old for your age audience there. So we have the standings up on the board there, I see. A reminder, guys, I've opened the chess.com chat. I've opened the ChessKid Twitch chat. If you have questions, let me know. You don't have to be a kid to ask a question. You don't have to be a kid to watch this. You don't have to be a kid to be on ChessKid. You do have to be a kid to play in this tournament, though. That's the one thing. Okay, bishop e3, hitting the knight. Unusual development because you're blocking your center pawn here. But you sometimes see this in openings. Is there a skill on LinkedIn called witching skills? I would just, great question, Funmaster Mike. What I would put for the skills is impressions, and then maybe in like parentheses, like realistic and or medieval. And you could just impress, you could endorse me on that. Just work on the cackle. Very true. And if there's not a skill on LinkedIn, Mike, that could be a business idea. Any of you are free to take that business idea and run with it. I give it away to you. Okay, so the junior prodigy, probably not used to encountering this setup, is taking their time, probably wondering, how do I take advantage of this perhaps weirdly placed bishop? Shiriet 0 asked me, what's my favorite opening? Thank you for the question, man, or woman. My favorite opening, now that really depends. I need some clarification. Are you talking about like what openings do I personally play in tournament chess? I like this move b6, bringing this bishop on the long diagonal. But white wastes no time of unleashing their bishop and centralizing their knight, perhaps wanting the knight to come into c6. If rook b8 or rook a7, knight c6 is going to hit the board. Bishop b7, probably force here. So yeah, are you asking what openings do I play for tournament chess? Or what openings do I sometimes play for blitz? Or what about that? As white, I play the English opening, mainly because openings are not my strong suit. So I try to play the less theoretical studied openings so that people that have studied openings don't have a huge advantage over me. And I also kind of have the mindset of playing, if I play the openings that are a little bit more unusual to encounter in tournament chess, then I'll have a little bit more of an advantage if I play those positions. Producer Alex is asking me what happened with the crab. Well, that's why I asked for the clarification, because my favorite silly opening is without a doubt the crab. And if you're wondering what the crab is, I want you to envision the chessboard with all the pieces. You first play h4, then you play a4, and you get your claws going. And then you play d3 and e3, and you get your eyeballs going. And then you fianchetto, and you get the muscles of the crab going. And you have to see it. Tune into my stream sometime. I'll play a crab for you. Black is lining the rook up with the queen, a sensible idea here. And this bishop is soon to be unleashed, where actually this bishop looks like it's a fantastic piece, but if white can just remove his pieces from the side of the board, I do not like this move b5. Actually, it has some benefits. So I don't like it at first glance because you have this backwards pawn, but I guess white's idea is that they'll have this outpost square on c6. That one I like, and you gave me is that a Grandmaster Ben Feingold face? I think it is. The lull face? I'm not sure. Okay, so cool tactic here from black. Knight d5, hitting the queen, cannot be captured because of these pins. Pin to win, queen d2, and yeah, okay. So I actually thought white had a good position until this b5 move, which just, as we've seen, didn't do great tactically. Queen b3 was an idea, but then they're going to do this. And why I like the position is, even though this piece looks like it's a fantastic chess piece, if you can just not have any pieces over here, well, then yes, the bishop still attacks the center, but it's staring at nothing over here. Okay, and so white gets this knight, which black decides is a sufferable piece where they just have to remove it. And so we've reached an even material endgame with rooks versus bishop and 2 pawns, where what I know about this endgame is First off, black's pawns, not the best pawns in the world. They can be targeted, but what I know about this endgame is if black can trade queens and rook, bishop and 2 pawns is usually better than rook in an endgame. The reason being is that the pawns can promote and the rook cannot. And so the rook just kind of has to like try to stop the pawns from advancing. It's not easy. But white is up material here now. So something like queen g5 maybe. And then queen d5. Whoa, tactics hitting the board saying, if you take me, I take you. Is there any tactical retorts? No, this trade happened. And, okay, rook b1, hitting this pawn. Black is desperate. Yeah, that's why I didn't like moving this. I wanted to move this rook instinctually. Uh-oh, checks are hitting the board. I didn't think white had to allow this. I think they had an easier way of going about things. But they're still probably winning here. They don't want to drop all these pawns, but okay. Yeah, they would love to get active themselves and just get 2 rooks here going on the 7th rank. Rook d7, rook e7. I kind of like that. I don't like doubling our rooks on these on the e file. That's not it. Oh, dropping this pawn is not good. So okay, so white needs to study their endgames a little bit because I think they had the win here. They still can get the win if they could get this pawn here and do a rook check here. Because now we've reached that endgame where the material is technically even. But I think it's just harder to play as white once these pawns get rolling. Rook c5, something to think about. Oh no, bishops go backwards. You got a new puppy. That's awesome. And we'll take a short break at the end of this game so that we can come back strong for round 6 and 7 of the last ChessKid Monthly Championship qualifier. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, even though black has this these 2 extra pawns. With rook endgames are hard to convert. So like I'd be bringing this rook here and I want to do checks from behind. No rampaging rooks. This is the last qualifier. You cannot trade rooks. Definitely do not trade unless you can calculate that you'll get opposition. Okay, now they're only up 1 pawn, but the black king is active, so. Ooh, I don't know about that move. Rook f5 was an idea here. Double attacking here. Oh, and dropping the pawn. This is a draw. Wow. Junior Prodigy, you got to hit those endgame. Hit those endgame studies. All right, guys. We're at the end of round 5. So we will be back in a short time. Do not go anywhere for rounds 6 and 7 of the monthly championship. All right, we are back for the witching hour here. We have rounds 6 and 7. The Coding Yoda says hello. Hello to you. I love that name. That's a cool name. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so. Okay, so this knight is really strong, and black doesn't want to chomp on it and bring these pawns into the position. You were up a rook, but blundered checkmate. Ah, that stinks. That's the toughest. No fun when that happens. Okay, so bishop e6. Black had worries about their f7 pawn. So we're looking at the junior prodigy versus Cheery Rink. Okay, and pretty common idea here, a pawn break to get active pieces. So white has ideas of capturing here. The trades they're probably fine with. They're just trying to remove pieces defending the king. And even endgame, they would have some problems perhaps with this weak pawn here. Okay, so they do an intermezzo move of capturing the knight on e5. Now there's only one pawn defending it. White captures back. Black captures the bishop. Captures, captures, captures. And we've reached an even material endgame where white controls the d file, but has these weak pawns. However, white can probably at some point play the move e4, trying to get rid of their one weak pawn and their double isolated pawns, but they'll still, this pawn is really far up the board. It's going to be hard to defend. So maybe a move like queen b5, keeping defense of this pawn. a6, giving the queen a kick. Maybe queen a5 now. Just defending here. Seems like black will be able to, yeah, just coordinate their pieces. And what is white to do? Okay, so they trade and they need to get active. So maybe like rook c1, rook c7. So rook c1, maybe I play rook d7. So I don't want to do this. Rook c1, rook e8, rook c7, and queen takes. I just don't like having this white rook active in my position. Okay, so queen c3, lining up with the king, threatening the move e6 to get rid of this weak pawn. Queen e6, blockading the pawn. Queens don't really want to be blockading. b5 is maybe a move from black, where now this is the point they have to defend. Where's the white rook coming to? Rook e1 and e4 is an idea. e4 right away. Captures. The idea of it captures rook f1, rook f6. And if ignored, maybe you play rook c8. Okay, so the rook came to e1. I would definitely want him to look at rook f1 with the idea of getting this rook into f6. And then you have this discovered idea. You free up this pawn to move. But rook e1, a little worried about the material. Rook d3, activating the rook. It's all about activity in this endgame. Kicking the queen off of this diagonal as well. So the queen does not need to blockade anymore. Okay, queen c2 hitting the rook, trying to remove the defender of the rook. Need to get active if you're black. So if you take, they take. Taking. That would be losing for them. So you can't do that. Queen f5 is a move I'm thinking about. Queen d5, another move to think about. Trying to play d2. Move their pawn. Hit it on g2. That looks really strong. Okay, they did a check. Rook e3. I liked queen d5. I thought queen d5 was strong. Long John Silver says hello. Chess Wiz says they're 4 out of 6. I'm normally 3 out of 6. So you're improving from the last one. Excellent. Improvement is what chess is all about. It's definitely a journey. Yeah, so now black's pieces look a little awkward to me. I liked queen d5, which is kind of instructive, I feel. Because you're threatening to seize a rook on the 7th rank, and then you're just doing this X-ray attack of g2. So what does white even do against this? They cannot play rook e2 because then rook d1 hits the board. So queen d5 looks like a crushing move. Perhaps they play queen f2, threatening to get in here. Threatening to draw, rook d2, check. Ooh, there's no more checks after there though. But this is not so clear. Okay, so what we got here is a double attack. Ooh, devastating. Where the queen is being hit and this check is threatened. Now that check is not ending on their own. Whoa, someone's dropping a whole chess game TGN in the chat. So you got to move your rook. But you're going to get mated, I guess. So the queen and rook are both hitting here. So yeah, what happened here? They just didn't. You got to see your threats too, guys. Threats are the hardest thing. You know, everyone knows their checks, everyone knows their captures, but seeing the threats and f5 actually amazing response, because if queen takes e3 hits the board, queen takes f1 will be checkmate. So en passant check is captured, and then king e7, and maybe you're holding. Where still you cannot take that rook. But now the rook's threatening to invade over here, and yeah, this rook is just so awkward. Such a weird placed piece. So, okay, I play rook d3, you check me, and I can bring my rook back to d7. Rook e2, choosing to be active, but you might be in trouble. You're getting checkmated, I think, after rook c7. Rook c7, king f8, and then just f7. Not right away because of that threat, but okay, did not do the check first. Yeah, sorry guys, you can't post whole games in the chat. You can link to your game. Oh no, you can't do that either. So this looks double. Oh, giving the check. I don't know about that. Oh, and the checkmate was found. What a back and forth game that was. Whoa, tripled pawns. Call it bingo. You know what they say, double pawns are bad, triple pawns are worse. This is a mistake because they can get a passed pawn here, which just anchors the king to the pawn. Because even though white is up in material, this is basically one pawn. So really, this is a 3 versus 2 endgame, funny enough. Yeah, and black's going to be able to just break through here. I think this is a win. I don't, it's kind of close actually, because the black king can't come here to invade. It has to get here to then go nom, nom, nom. Okay, so they chose to advance this way. I don't think this was the correct way to do it. Ooh. Now black just has F3. Yeah, and that's winning. So the white king lost its way a little bit there. Went the wrong way. It needed to play defense, not offense. The triple pawns are trying, though. White is marching their isolated pawns forward one at a time. Yeah, and white has run out of moves. The queen is going to gobble these pawns and get a checkmate. Good job, Forrest. That is the last game of round 6. So we have the standings up by producer Alex here. And reminder, all standings are unofficial. We will be running thorough cheat detection after the tournament is completed. There's an article that usually is released each month with the winners. And then also, even tie breaks. Tie breaks are unofficial from the system. Okay. So Data Kalari is the only one with a 6 out of 6, and we got 2 people with 5 out of 5. Top Lumpy Gator and the Junior Prodigy. Was that did he stalemate that game? Wow, I must have missed it. Maybe he didn't check. Maybe he stalemated. Okay, so if Data wins this game, they win the tournament. If they draw this game, they also probably win the tournament on tie breaks, is my guess. So if black has to win this game pretty much, I don't think they can take a draw. And white probably can take the draw, but then you're leaving it up to tie break. So I probably would not be playing for it. In a over the board tournament, this would all be known before the round is done. The coaches of the kids would have done the research and they would have said, you know, we've calculated the tie breaks. If you draw, you win. So they'll know like, oh, you need to win or you need to draw. And that might even change what openings they play. They might play a more aggressive opening if they need to win versus draw, and vice versa. So Data Kalari has the world in front of them. They're playing as white. Draw probably gets them into the championship, and a win definitely does, because they'd be the only 7 out of 7. Because yeah, let me look at the standings again. We have Data with 6 out of 6, Top Lumpy Gator with 5.5, the Junior Prodigy with 5 out of half, and a bunch of 5s. Okay, so white releases some pawn tension there with a capture. Do I play the Grob? I do not play the Grob. E4, breaking in the center, looking to activate white pieces here. Last Open Fortress says, I love the Grobs. A lot of Grob fans in the chess.com TV chat. Okay. Looks like this can be captured for free at the moment. White was worried about these pins, though. And take with queen, and white seems fine. So I thought black could have done a little bit better than they did there. And again, this just seems to be favoring white, if I had to guess. Not only do they have the majority on the queen side, which in the endgame should favor them, but they have a... Ooh, unless this tactically is strong. I don't think so. So I wanted to play bishop e3, but now you cannot. So you need to defend this point. Are you going to do that with queen f3? Probably best. Rook e2. You run into problems with like the rook developing. Okay, rook e2. The rook develops, and I guess the idea is you just move your bishop now. And this rook will discover a defense. A discovered defense. Discovered attack, discovered defenses exist too. So bishop e3 looks good to me. Could also play bishop g5, bishop f4. Chooses to play bishop f4, perhaps with the idea of bishop e5, queen g4, putting pressure on this king. So this rook is a fantastic defender, but it's got to make sure it doesn't get overworked here. And white controls the e-file, but the e-file is only a half open file, where black is looking to double on the open d-file and perhaps even perform a rook lift. So I would say black's more active than white. And they can't really challenge the open D file, the only open file on the board. So B4, perhaps a desperation move, freeing up the rook from defending B2 and just getting this bishop away. But now you have, could have weaknesses on C3. So just C4 right away is something I'd be looking at. I would have been looking at C4 and A3 to defend the pawn left behind. Bishop E3 though is fine. Perhaps the bishop will park itself here. C4 forces a... C4 now actually, this move is threatening to win the queen. If white just does a move like C4, then rook D1 picks up the loose queen because the bishop is no longer allowing the rook to defend. So bishop D4, pointing at the king. What do you mean by the table theme set? I appreciate your constructive criticism, though. Are you talking about the layout of the standings right now, or what theme would you like to see? Okay, so E5 is an idea eventually here for black. Yeah, I don't really know what that comment's talking about either in Twitch, but are you talking about my table that you see? Are you talking about the layout of the stream? Or are you just trolling? That's purely possible too. Bishop d6. Okay, so queen g4. If we just do some caveman chess ideas. What do you play against that? You do not want to play g6. You do not want to play f6. So queen g4 looks strong. You're very cool, the blazing bishop. Wow, Alistar. By the way, that's my burner account, guys. No, I'm kidding. Rook c2. What is this passive move to threaten c4? Come on, queen g4. Threaten a checkmate here. And really, black should have moved this rook, I think, so they could plop their bishop back on f8. What does black do against this? Don't want to do either of these moves. And moving the rook is now allowing this pawn to come to e5 too. Ooh, but oh no, it doesn't work. I'm looking at c4. So yeah, crucial move missed by Data Kalari, I think. And they are way down on clock. Wow, b5, retaliation moves. What is even the idea of b5? Is it perhaps, oh no, c4. The rook will take here though. So you must take. The pawn will take, the rook will take, and Data will be up. And exchange. But black has one pawn for the effort. So black might have to try set up like b6, bishop c5, hold on to this pawn. Bishop e5 was a tactical threat of d5, hitting the bishop and hitting the rook. I mean, hitting the rook with the bishop. White's getting active now. Don't want to let him get here. Finally developed their piece, but now rook e1 can hit the board, pinning the bishop, and I guess black will have to play f6 against that. But even then, f4. Yeah, rook e1 just looked like a winning move by white. What does black do? They are pinned and they're in trouble. f6, f4, takes and takes. Data missing the simple tactics. Down on the clock though. So that's perhaps why. Okay, now they found the pin, but now the bishop can retreat and defend is the problem. But that should be a winning endgame. Who's my favorite chess player? My favorite chess player right now might be Alireza Firouzja. All time, I'm not really sure. There's a lot of chess players I like. So yeah, king f6 was not the best move. Now white's just up a full healthy exchange. They're going to get their king in the game. They really should be putting their pawns on light squares. And they want their pawns on light squares so that this bishop can just stare at nothing. Okay. Can't defend that pawn. It's going to be too much to handle here. Should be a win for white. Threatening a5 now with the pin. They do have doubled pawns now. Oh, and definitely winning. way up on the clock. So unofficially, congratulations to Data Kalari, who will be this month's champion. And I think it was their last chance to qualify. I don't think he qualified yet. So he or she. So unofficially, the winners of the tournament go first, Data Kalari with the perfect 7 out of 7. In second place, Top Lumpy Gator. And in third place, Wheel 2020. A reminder that cheat detection will be run on the full tournament and the official standings will be released. I will not be hosting the final monthly championship. Funmaster Mike will be back, I believe, with perhaps the Playful Squirrel. I believe that's who are going to be our commentators, but stay tuned for those details. Make sure you check out the ChessKid YouTube channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this series and may be back next year. Goodbye, guys.